Wait, can I make this
Let me bring Iyo
F11?
over.
How do I not show my bar here?
Oh, you can full screen Discord, yeah. In the bottom right, you can click the little square in the bottom
I'm so
right corner.
stupid.
Amazing. We did it.
No
I think
stuff,
it was
no
less
stuff at all.
tough than last time.
Admittingly, that was faster than last time. Admittingly, it's faster than last time. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Proxy Podcast, episode number 2. It's your boy Josh.
When's the last time we did this? I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's it was, the intrusive thoughts, man.
No,
It just came out
for sure.
loud.
Yeah. To be fair, people don't know this. I actually ran a pilot with Iyo at one point. If you remember that recording, Iyo, that was off stream. And there's a little backstory for Age and Az too. I wanted to include more people. I also wanted to host it live. So this is the official iteration of the podcast, just for some
Live is
background
always more
context.
fun.
Live is more fun.
Okay.
Live is more fun. Let us welcome in, firstly, the returning guests. And one of them just left. Nope, we're back. Welcome in.
Sorry, I'm sick. I had to deal with the tissue.
Sick. Ew.
Oh, I know. Gross.
Yucky. Cooties.
Welcome in, Azrial Vanity. It's the
I
boy.
return.
Yes. And
Good boy.
Age.
Hello. I don't know where to look. There's so many things on my screen.
I think you
I have,
just look into the camera. Look into the viewer's eyes. Just really, connect
hello.
with them.
Hello there. Nice to see you.
And we also have next person. Yeah, and we also have a new guest on episode 2. We welcome in the one, the only, the Combat King. You go by many nicknames.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, the glue guy.
Too many.
Glue guy.
The glue. Let's go.
Glue guy.
The glue guy.
Honestly, I think that one might be my favorite. I was talking about it earlier, and it just but it's only my favorite because the you guys know the Trunks meme with they call me the drink.
Because I don't know that.
No. It's someone did it. It's some guy. He made this whole song, video, whatever. Months later, the whole glue thing happened. Yeah, I'll show it to you. But like months later, the glue thing
Educate us.
happened, and they replaced drink with glue. So then they're like, they call him the what? They call him the glue, and I'm like, who started that? Because like it's funny. So I think that's why that one's my favorite right now. Hi everybody.
Welcome in
That's why
Iyo,
I'm the
everybody.
host.
Welcome in Iyo. To get us started, everybody, as this is a Zenless Zone Zero podcast. Our last episode, we filmed it before 1.5 came out, yes?
Mhm.
Yes.
After the
yeah.
live stream.
Right. And now we've had 1 week under our belts. Now that we've played it, out of 10 this time, not to confuse people, out of 10 little bang boos, how are we liking Zenless Zone Zero 1.5 so far to start the new year? How are we liking it? Our
Super.
guest,
Oh my goodness.
the
Oh my
newest
goodness.
guest should kick us off.
Yeah.
I think 1.4 is like a really big, we're here now. And then 1.5 is solidifying a lot of that. For me, 1.5 was mostly about the story with Astra and Evelyn. It also allowed us to take a glimpse, and we'll talk about it later, I'm sure, but like the combat aspect of it or the team building aspect behind it. So there's a couple different factors in there. I like the direction that Zenless is going, but at the same time, there are things that I don't know. Some of the things in the game I'm questioning, and I'm like, why would you put that there? But it's fun, but like, why would you put that there? Like some of the boss designs are really weird. But overall, if I had to give it a number, I'd say like an 8.5 out of 10, somewhere around there. Yeah. Like 1.5 solid.
Okay. And I mean, we have like an hour plus to talk about it. So,
Yeah, for sure.
it's not a Twitter post where we only have 200 characters.
Well, I have Twitter Blue, so I can talk forever.
True. You got the read more at the bottom.
Yeah.
Age, how's your experience so far?
I haven't played everything yet. I've mostly just done the story and then kind of done some of the not the Bang Boo Falls guys event, but just some of the stuff casually. I think so. I guess my rating will probably be mostly on the story that I've played so far, since I haven't tried everything yet. I've really enjoyed it. I liked it quite a bit, especially because I feel like this is technically a filler patch when it comes to the story, right? It's not like technically part of the main plot, I would say. It was still, I think, like overall execution of it. And then just the amount of cinematic things and the way that they did the fights and stuff and attention to detail was really, really good. Like I have like some more like detailed things that we can talk about later with the Azrial Evelyn story. But like for my personal enjoyment so far, yeah, I'd also give it around like a 8.5, I would say.
For me, for the actual like story itself, I think I originally gave it an 8.5. After simmering a bit and reading some chats on it, I'd rate the story itself probably a 7.5. And then I'll get into a little bit why. Like once we get more detailed, I'll explain why I dropped it. But overall, the patch itself, having played the Bang Boo Fall event and like the dance thing, cinema. Like 9 out of 10.
I did
The only thing. Yeah. Oh, I haven't done that one yet,
2048
actually. I haven't done that one, but it looks good. But once we get access to the fishing, then it's 10 out of 10 for the patch. Then it's 10 out of 10. But right now, 9 out of 10 because it's incredibly fun. Like it is great.
I forgot about all the mini games.
No,
I wonder if did they say if they were going to make fishing permanent, or is it only
It better
going to
be.
be?
I'll write them if they.
I think
So.
it is. It kind of seems like it's going to be like Cheesetopia.
Yes.
So it's going to be like a permanent,
Yes.
like
I
so there's
hope
limited
so.
time rewards, but then it's added permanently after. I think.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that goes the same with the Bang Boo Fall Guys then, technically, no?
Bang Boo Fall Guys thing is permanent because it is actually listed as Redo Chronicles. So that is permanent.
Ooh.
Nice.
Thank you for correcting me. There you go.
Yeah.
So, hey, yeah, I last episode, I gave it an 8.3. I have to definitely give it like a 9.5. The mini games have been so much fun. Last week, I was kind of taking my time with it, and now getting to actually play with chat, with the co-op, and then down the road, funny enough, we do have 3 contestants for the Fall Guys Bang Boo tournament on the 31st, which this episode will probably come out after that happens. So looking forward to it. We're only allowed to do that because Zenless Zone Zero is growing to be more inclusive of co-opable content, which is
Mhm.
big dub. So
Yeah.
Good stuff for sure. I think that was. I feel like Azrial and I definitely spoke on that. Was that at the beginning of like launch? It might have been launch when we were talking about the different like Mega Man and putting random like Pokemon crap in there, like all the different things they can do in the game.
Yeah.
It's really nice to see them embracing the arcade side of it and just like it's a game and you can just have a blast with it. You can put whatever you want into it. You have all these different assets and different connections to other companies that you can use to change it so that Zenless isn't just a gacha game, but it has more the world of New Era do. Everything feels more like alive.
Yeah.
You just happen to be somebody playing in it.
Because there's
Yeah,
actually
it's
stuff for you to
because-
do like in the world yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
not just as like a gacha game, but as a like I guess player or person in the world, like the arcade, right? We can
Yes.
literally play a lot of the mini games. As much as Bizarre Brigade triggers me, they did add the co-op as well. So then it's like
Yes,
you can also
they
play with
did.
friends too, which is something like the co-op aspect. I think they do a really kind of unique job of it in Zenless, because I do think a lot of gacha games kind of lack that bit of being able to just chill with your friends, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Apart
yeah,
from like
for sure.
farming for like echoes in WUWA, for example, or just being in someone else's world, you can actually do stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's exciting. It also feels like I mentioned on this on stream at one point, but it feels like the devs are literally just having fun. Like it genuinely feels like the devs are just trying their best to make the game as fun as possible, and it is really clearly showing. And then with the co-op, I haven't actually done the survey, but one of my chat told me that the new survey that was like just released, they're asking about co-op, and we know that they
nice.
were talking about like before the game released that they were reworking the actual like combat co-op mode.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see that like in the near future too, because that'll even further enhance how much fun you can have with like friends besides the arcade.
There has already been closed beta testing for co-op, technically.
Yeah. I have footage.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Ooh.
like, are you talking about
From
like
CVT.
new stuff or like
No,
from
no,
the
no,
CVT?
not from because obviously it wouldn't be like either creator access or
Right,
anything.
right.
Yeah. So like
Yeah. No, I have it
okay,
from the
yeah.
CBT.
yeah, from the CBTs.
Yeah, I have
'Cause-
footage from that as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
Which I
Which
mean, if
from
we
that
talked
one, it
about it,
was
have we
kind
all
of-
I
experienced that?
don't.
No, Azra, you played it right for co-op.
I
or no?
did. Yeah, I
Yeah?
did. Yeah,
I know you played it too. Okay, but as you haven't played it,
No.
it's cool. I like it. It was just bare bones. Like when
It was.
we first got a hold of it, it was super bare bones. But what I will say, when Soul and I played it, we were definitely questioning things, how parries would work or how like reactions and disorders would work. And I think if they really hone in on that, that could be what sets them apart, right? Because Genshin has its own co-op thing and Weathering has its own co-op thing, and I guess even Honkai Impact 3rd has co-op too. But when it comes to like Zenless, there are certain things about this game that they could really drive home for cooperative play to make it feel more like you have to play this. I won't say you have to, but if you decide to play co-op, it makes it feel more like everybody's decisions matter. And you're not just mashing, left click, skill, left click, and something happens. Like you both can't parry at the same time. And, whoever does get the parry, they're the ones that get the advantage from it, not the other party. Like there's a couple different factors that it had that makes it interesting.
Also, I don't know if this is how it was in like the things that haven't played it, but also like chain attacks. Like even just making it so that each person has to press their like a different chain attack in the same chain. Like I think that could be pretty cool too.
Because originally the co-op was for the weeklies. Like to get the weekly mats or whatever for the Ascension. So you could just have your friend help you with it. And to make it like, oh, let me actually do it with a friend is actually allow you to, whenever you get in the lobby, whenever you choose whatever character, you can choose those like Lost Void skills. That way you can have like the enhanced, like different versions of combat whenever you do the weeklies. If they, it'll take a while for them to do this, but if they do end up implementing more of the actual like team attacks, between like Ben and Kaleda on other agents, then they could do that as sort of like a quick time event for the people that are in the co-op mode. Like you have to be like actively doing something to make the team up happen. But yeah, we'll see how they actually do it. They've been cooking, so I'm sure they've had great ideas being fed to them on how they can actually make the co-op better. Because they do care. It seems like so. I'm excited to see what they actually cook.
Do you think it's going to be more that bare bones, just like single boss fight aspect, or do you think they're going to approach it a little bit differently?
I'll probably start with something simpler, like like a boss fight, maybe to like test out how the whatever they have in store for like how they want the combat to work. They probably want us to like kind of test it out first before they really go like bigger into different game modes. But I do think that if the initial co-op test for combat and stuff is received well and has decent feedback, or for however they implement it, they down the line, like we've seen it before, like even whenever they try out something like new, if it does well, they'll take it and then they'll like expand on it and evolve it, whether it's in like a different game mode or even just the same game mode, but like making it even better in the future. So I do think that like there's a lot of potential for it to become like a pretty big part of the game, I would say.
Yeah. One idea that I had back in like I think it was after the first closed beta test actually, or I must have been the second one, I think. It was whenever they actually added Hollow Zero. I thought it would be fun if they added basically a like co-op Hollow Zero mode where you would all queue up and go across one big giant dungeon. And you would essentially have like your own routes and you would all get your own Resonium, and at the end of each floor it'd be like a raid boss. So you would like co-op together for the boss and then go to the next floor. And then however they could either do like an infinite mode and however like far you go, you get like rewards. Or like a thing that resets weekly. Like if you get to these certain incremental levels, then like with your team, they could do an in-game, a co-op in-game mode.
Have you ever played what is it? Digimon World 4. Have you ever played that one?
I have not, no.
Dude, I've seen that game.
Yeah,
it has. God, what the? How do you draw that on your bag, bro? What the heck?
World 3 is my favorite PS1 game. Let's just clarify that right now, right? But World 3 is my favorite one. 4 was a disappointment for me because it wasn't like a traditional, Digimon World game. But then after a little bit of playing it, I was like, oh, wait a minute, I can play this with a friend. And so exactly what you just explained is pretty much how World 4 works. But I think the main difference is that you don't have a split off between like one person gets one room and the other. But you do have it in a way where like you all still get you still get your buffs or anything like that, or you share some buffs here and there. But it's one like zone or plane that you walk through. And I think it'd be kind of interesting if we did have something like that for co-op. Like right now we have Lost Void and you run through the entire thing. So what if it was a similar situation where, you have co-op with 2 or 3 people and you guys just kind of run all over the place. Everyone can see their own screen and you can see somebody from 50 feet away and I can see what you're fighting and I can come help you if I wanted to, or, keep clearing my own stuff, whatever. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Also like with Nineveh too, because right now, like, in the story, I guess technically Nineveh runs away after we beat them in the Hollow Zero, right? So sorry, I just like had a random like tangent in my brain where it's like, oh, what if when they implement co-op for Hollow Zero, and then it's kind of like they're saying like, oh, so now we need you like guys act like the different proxies to actually come together so you can like fight Nineveh for real.
Oh,
and
that would be
like,
sick.
and then she has like maybe like another evolution. So then it's like we kind of have to keep like gathering forces together to fight.
Cooking.
Ooh, that'd be the first raid boss right there.
Yeah, exactly.
too
Like a raid
shabby.
boss.
Yeah, they should just make us
Okay.
the idea team, the dev team. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Put us on
say
the
that all the
team.
time, man. Let them happen. Yeah.
But dude, there's so many crazy and different, different ways we can implement co-op, which is why the conversation's so fun. But to reel it back, and I guess to kind of close up the chapter with 1.5, just a little bit on the lore side. Let's talk a little bit about the story a little bit. How did we enjoy the story side of things with the special episode?
I'm just going to tell you that I love Evelyn, but I also like Astra. Astra's character I thought was really cool. And I like that her and Evelyn share, I still don't know what to call it. Like either they're in love and they're lovers or secret lovers or like they're sisters, right? Because
This
like
bond
it's just,
that they have.
yeah, they have this special bond and it's so anonymous, but it doesn't really matter, right? Like I like it. It's really cool. Evelyn is ride or die for Astra, and Astra sees Evelyn in a similar manner where it's like, even if I can't protect you with my own strength or with skills as strong as you are, I can still use what I have to be able to protect you and look out for you and do all other kinds of things. And I'm like, yeah, this is wonderful. Like we need more of this. And coming right off of 1.4's story with everyone teaming up together, like that whole sequence is still in my head where it's like, oh man, Sokaku is falling off and she's like Nagi and she jumps off and then all of a sudden Rina just comes and scoops everybody up. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like coming off of that high, it's so good. And you see more and more and more character development on every single character. And it works with a special episode because we don't have to, I don't like comparing it, but
like focus too much on
it didn't feel like a compare. Yes, yeah, exactly. Like everyone has time, and because it all flows with the story, it just feels like a natural, like as if I was reading a comic book. It feels natural. So I'm not separated, right? Like I guess in a companion quest, it would feel like I have to go pick up a new volume of X-Men Uncanny Volume 1, but I'm already reading, X-Men 99 or something like that. So it's nice.
Yeah, they do really, really good work on interweaving every single story point to make it feel like it is a natural flow. Like that's why I say, while I don't necessarily think that Zenless is like the best Hoyo story ever, it is 100%. I stand by this every single time I say this. The best written story that they've ever
done. Direction, absolutely.
It's so peak every single time. And like you said, with Evelyn and Astra's bond that they have, it makes sense with Evelyn. Even though she, is a bodyguard and she was someone who is not really trustworthy of everyone immediately, they explain why she fell so hard for Astra in whatever dynamic it is, because of the fact that she's never met someone like Astra,
who's just
anyone
so
who normally has that has it's a front, right? They're not actually like that. But when she's been with her for so long, especially behind the scenes, not just when she's on stage or doing a production or whatever, then she sees this is legitimately Astra. And she's like, I didn't know someone could be this wholesome. She basically says that in the story. And it's really cute. And like you said, again, with the flow of the story, they brought my goat Rain back.
Hey.
Yeah, I know. I love it.
I love her so much. Characters? Yes. Even though she's an NPC, she's the goat. She's I love her so much. And they are actually giving her a backstory. And not only just a random ass backstory, her backstory's dead ass connected with Evelyn. They're both from the organization.
Because it's nice when you have recurring characters like that between stories. Because I can't remember. Rain was was she in the main story as a side character?
Yeah, she was chapter 3, because she was the one that we're supposed to save from the Ballet Twins Tower.
Yeah, but she's also been in so many side stories too. She just kind of shows up now and then, with having a relation. So it's not like they just shove her in too. And it's really nice to see these recurring side characters, because it again kind of makes the entire story and world feel like it's more connected and not just separate tidbits or side stories that they're trying to give us of the characters. Because then it's you actually have this interwoven network of connections amongst the characters in the game. And then that obviously helps with the world building and then individual character building as well. It also makes us so happy whenever we get to see these like cool characters show up and oh my god, it's Rain! It's been so long
really
since
cool.
this theater, and it like makes sense too. It's done in a way that still follows the lore and everything that we've learned so far, and it's just so
the Rain portion of that quest. I was like, hacker, is is this who I think it is?
Yeah, I know.
So I was
Because when they
like-
mentioned hacker, I'm like, please.
Yeah.
And then it
And
And then they
was.
mentioned Toadie wearing a hoodie, and I was like, oh.
Oh.
And then one of the standout points was like, or at least in that interaction, was that Rain and Evelyn aren't their real names. And that whole time, I'm like, they
Isn't
like
that
no,
crazy?
the organization, they're actual genuine like spies, like their identities are like not known on the grid. It's like just adds so much mystique to it. I'm like, that's the part I love, you know, along with you guys highlighting that.
It's also really so wholesome. Like at the end of that interaction where they mention it, they're like, "Oh yeah, I now go by this name," and then they're like, "Oh that." It's like that's, and they tell each other, they're like, "Oh, that's like a nice name. It suits you." Kind of.
Yeah.
So it also, like the way I saw it, it kind of like shows how they've also developed as people since before when they were part of the organization, probably
Oh yeah.
as a much more like severe, you know, like in their personalities and the things that they had to do back then, probably. So it's now that they've kind of like grown, like both escaped from it in a way, and then have been able to move on in their lives and kind of come more into their own selves as people, and then being able to like see them kind of acknowledge that in each other even after the
Yes.
fact, even though we don't know their history, like all we like learn is in that moment, but it still has so much impact on me as like a person, just because then I can only imagine just how like hard of a life they had back then, you know?
Yeah.
And then
That's
now
why
seeing
they
them,
say
like,
the
happy
writing
as-
is so good. Like they
Yep.
don't have to spell it out for you. They don't have to be like, oh, remember when we went through this traumatic event together? It's just like they write it so well. It's like, oh, clearly they've done shit together,
It's, like,
and they
implied,
have
and then-
escaped. Like they got out of it. She said, "Thank you for saving my life," which I can assume is literally getting her out, helping Rain leave the organization too.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Aside from writing, that quest wasn't just about the writing. It was about the voice acting.
Yes.
And
Oh
I
my
think
God.
we're all like collectively like, ding.
Yeah.
Tessa.
Lady
also-
De Winter went crazy.
Oh my God.
Holy.
What was
Dude.
going on there?
They paid her
That was
overtime. They must.
crazy.
Hey, I'll pay her overtime.
I was saying they need to have paid her a shit ton. That was
Yeah.
so good. She came in swinging with that voice acting. I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
The
Correct.
rent,
I like
yeah, the rent was due. That was her
Yeah.
like witness the will of the week moment, you know? Like-
Literally. Even just like the presentation of the like voice like acting aside, even just like the sound design, the way that they tried to present it too. And then also, sorry, this is like such a like a small detail thing that I noticed. But you know when you're playing like as Evelyn outside and you're fighting while Astra's like performing indoors inside the arena, you know how they have the music kind of like muffled
Yeah.
playing from the doors, like directionally in your ear from the door thing. I just found like that was such a small little detail, but to me, like just them putting in the effort to really like put that sound directly, make it muffled as if it's like being played through the door, as if you were actually there.
They used to.
They're
They
in
also
their
had the. I did actually Alt F4 during the final fight because I accidentally beat it too fast and I stopped the dialogue. So I Alt F4 and went
yeah.
back into the game and it rebooted me into the fight and I just waited until all of it went.
Yeah,
But
I just ran in
it's way
circles.
too slow. Yeah.
I like
Alright.
this feels like, I don't know how to explain it. It's a genuine love for the game. There's a genuine love for Zenless. There's a genuine love for, you know, what the team is doing, the developers are putting into it. I like seeing and hearing, just talking about it in general. I like hearing more of that from fellow creators and everyone else. So it's
Yeah.
nice. Thank
Yeah.
y'all. I was completely off topic, but I'm
No,
listening
no, the
to
thing
everyone
is-
just geek out.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
It's like normally I'm the one geeking out. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, I don't have really anyone to geek out with, right? Now you guys are geeking out, so I just get to relish in the moment. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Stop my heart, Iyo.
And that's one of like the main inspirations why we started the podcast, right? Because just the connectivity of it all, especially in you know early Zenless Zone Zero days, it felt like it wasn't as connected of a world, at least in the community sense. So you know, having mediums like this where we can kind of all collectively come together with varying like lenses of the game is kind of the goal of the podcast. So
Well, no, I was just gonna say that everyone like I know who plays Zenless seems to really just enjoy the game. You know, I feel like I feel like this comes up every single time, but most people just write off Zenless as like the Gooner game, right? And sure, we goon, okay? Yes, admittedly, we do goon a lot, but there's also just there's so much more to the game that I think people really are missing out if they aren't willing to look past the surface of what, the marketing maybe that they see everywhere. Like once you actually get to like know the game a bit more and spend more time in the world and give it a chance, it's just such a amazing experience.
Yeah, that is quite literally the exact thing I was going to say. So
What?
you took the words right out of my mouth. I've been seeing so many TikToks of like me when I tried the game that I only just commented Gooner game on, and it's actually good. And it's like, yeah. Just try it. Because like the in-game, I've mentioned this before on stream, the only Gooner thing that's like in the story, like besides like maybe the combat animations if you finish on a wipeout screen, like on a specific wipeout screen, is Grace's toes in one mission, and that's like literally it.
Lighter's aim for you.
Very own. Yo, for free! That's crazy.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Lighter's Ages story was pretty good.
It's okay. They give the girlies and the guys. They give everyone. They let us goon equally. It's amazing.
Yes. Yes.
That's true equality right there.
I will say, I think it's really, really sick that this was the hey mushroom. This was the first like time that they really went in, made it a focus of like, hey, music will and can affect Ether to a very high degree. The entire premise of Astra's performance is the fact that she is controlling the Ether stage. That they literally have ether capsules basically around the stage that she is manipulating with Hemiola, or however you say the name of her weapon, which is specifically tuned with her voice. And in the combat stage missions, she talks about it, but it's music sensitive ether material that they have like in them. That's specifically tuned to her voice to make it seem like she's using magic when she's just like manipulating ether energy. And that's like the whole thing with her weapon is the way that she does it is it like blurs the lines between reality and magic. So it's just really, really sick to see them dive into that a little bit more, since that is the entire premise of W engines and drive discs. Is like, it's music, it's CD discs and an amp.
Wait a second. I never even
That completely slipped my mind too.
And like discs, and then the music store for discs and shit.
And the rating, whenever you ult, what do you have to get up? Your decibel rating.
Decibels, right?
Listen. I didn't ask for this lore dump, okay?
This is such like a simple thing. I just did not make that connection like at all.
And now it's not even just music; it's just like waves in general. Because I mentioned this in the last podcast, I think, but in the I don't know how to say it, Milanoe event, whatever, the new like thing with Yanagi,
the companion holo.
They were manipulating the literal like land in the companion holo with like light rays. Like that's what the little like when you connected the bridge, they like figured out how to affect like go into the ether data and affect it. So they're cooking right now with like what we can do with ether. Yeah,
because you mentioned like how it kind of blurs the line between like reality and stuff with the ether. So then that makes me wonder, like, do the holos, because we kind of see the holos as they basically transform, or like kind of like as an infection in a way. At least that's the way I kind of perceived it thus far. But now that makes me wonder if the holo and stuff, when it's blurring between like reality and fiction, like what if the holos are literally like an alternate universe or like an alternate dimension that sure it kind of like overlaps with ours, rather than it just being something that's like invading our world.
In an interview, they've confirmed, I don't know if I mentioned this on the last pod or not, but holos are the aftermath of an ancient war, which is probably what caused the old civilization to fall. And the old civilization is different from the old capital. The old civilization is literally like they were cracked, like they were insane in terms of like technology. And then there was a war, which we probably were testing ether weapons on the moon, which is why there's stuff on the moon. But whatever happened caused the holos to actually like appear. And they mentioned that ethereals were not actually a thing in holos when they first started. That was like a thing that happened as like an evolution. So you mentioned it being like a virus. It's very, very like similar to radiation. like it's nuclear radiation type of stuff,
Oh,
and
Yeah.
how like plants and stuff are adapting to the radiation in Chernobyl. Plant life and animal life are adapting to ether, basically affecting their DNA essentially. But also, real quick, I know Soul, you mentioned it in chat. Yeah, the Lost Void thing. That's what I was talking about with Geppetto. Geppetto is the one that's like actively the intellectual and is controlling the other ethereals. But in general, yes, ethereals are evolving at a rapid rate right now.
God, I love that, dude. You guys remember during launch, so many complaints about the story. Like, oh man, it feels like the story is just all over the place, and there's not really a main plot. We don't know
Mhm.
anything. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, it's a comic book.
It's just starting.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
comic book, man.
Yeah.
Like, and we've gotten to this point, everything's unfolding, and you're digging in lore all the time, Azriel. So it's just like, oh yeah, well, this happened back during chapter 1, and this was in the prologue, and this is the
Yeah.
original start with Rain.
Mhm.
And I'm just
So
what
much is
the
in 1.0.
fuck? Yeah.
Like even with the, which I assumed you were going to go into, this is a good segue to the new group that's being introduced. They were talked about in 1.0.
Yep. Yep.
Like everything has been there since the
They
beginning.
literally teased.
Yeah.
Like in Souls
Since the
11's quest,
beginning of
right?
time.
Here.
Like even Astra. I mean, sure, Evelyn wasn't, but like Evelyn's still connected because she was obviously still Astra's bodyguard. But like Astra has been there since before the game launched.
I think he's pulling out the
Yeah, I
poster.
saw
He's
this.
probably pulling
You
out the
have it.
poster.
Yep.
There we go. There we
Yep.
go.
This was before the game launched.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
But yeah, as you've been privy to so much, and I've always equated Zenless Zone Zero in my eyes to like the MCU. You have the Iron Man's, Captain America storyline. You have your Hulks and whatnot, and then we just had our very first Avengers movie. That sort of introduced,
Yeah.
brings
Yeah,
everybody
it's
together, and now it's kind of established this Zenless Zone cinematic universe. So
I
then
like
when we
that.
get,
Yeah.
these extra other factions coming
Please don't
into
go
another
multiversal.
storyline. Let's
Yeah,
maybe
please
not the
don't go
multiverse. Yeah, unless, and this
No,
kind of
please don't.
harkens. Whoa, this harkens back a little bit to some of the parts of the conversation we were having, right? With just where is Zenless Zone Zero? Because Hoyoverse, and Hoyoverse has always been very good at this. The greater Hoyoverse,
Yeah.
right?
The whole HCU.
Right. The yeah, exactly. So, as we sort of go further into the story and we learn so much more about, how the Hollows, the inner workings of the Hollows and our greater overarching storyline and where that trajectory is going to take us, we start to learn a little bit more about how there are some parallelisms to potential other Hoyoverse games as well. And that's where kind of that magic of Penacony was. And for all the HSR players, when we got introduced to Raiden, Acheron,
Masanori?
there we go, Masanori. I was just like, that's that sauce. And this is a great breaking point because we're going to start transitioning, just like As said, we're going to start transitioning into the newer content. Also, everybody, happy Chinese New Year. Yeah. It's today / tomorrow, technically, if you want to consider that. But yeah. 恭喜發財，新年快樂，身體健康。
Yeah, exactly.
No, you should
what he said.
honestly, yo, we should ask Age to like, because there's so many proverbs and like so many ways to like wish people the Happy New Year. I don't know if Age, you were listening in on that. Yeah. You must have way more in your bag.
I literally like started stream late today because I had to call my grandparents to wish them.
I mean, if you want to,
List them off
please.
now. Go.
just- Rapid fire. Give us some.
身體健康，萬事勝意，出入平安，龍馬精神。There's one more. I can't remember what it is. There's one more I know.
I'm trying to
Does
remember.
That was like
Everything
4.
mean
Okay,
the
that was like 4 or
same?
5.
Are they all like different greetings?
They all
or-
mean different things.
Yeah, they all mean different
I-
things.
What
I
happens
gotta
if
go
you
behind the
don't say
Duolingo.
these things?
You
Nothing
blow up.
really.
Like blow
Factuals.
up.
You have a
Factuals.
terrible year. Bad luck. You lose all your 50-50s.
I would have thought already happened. Did you go for more than one? or more than M0?
No, I will never ever do that. I've never done that, but the only like person I've ever done that for is Miyabi.
I want M1 Astra, but then
M1's nice.
there's Evelyn. Yeah, M1 looks really nice. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's great. Then there's Evelyn, and then we have the new characters that they just they drip fed them. You know, Soldier and Trigger. I'm like, time out, buddy. Like I don't have enough. You're moving a little too fast for me right now, man. Give me a break. Let me slow down. So,
to be fair, M1 Astra is M2 Evelyn. The defense down.
What?
You're right.
The M1 Astra, the total 18% all res down, is Evelyn's M2 15% fire resist ignore.
Yeah. You know what? That's fair. That's definitely fair.
So M1 Astra overrated, just dodged lol. That's one way to put it. Let's actually go a little bit into the future. We did talk about Evelyn in our previous podcast a little bit. Now we have a much better picture about her. What are we thinking? Is she, and this is kind of our, you know, a little advice segment. Is she a pull or not?
Not.
Yeah, that's not for me to answer.
Yeah,
That's
me
for
neither.
Iyo to answer.
We're talking about we're talking about Evelyn or Astra?
Yeah, we're talking about Evelyn.
I think it's tough to say that without having like a more definite idea of somebody's account. But I guess like just from everything that we have so far, I would personally say Evelyn's worth the pull. But they did just show off Anby, and she is an attacker, and she has 2 swords, and that's just cool as crap. So you know, you never really know, right? And people have been waiting on something for O-Ball for a while now. So it's hard. And I understand a lot of the player positions that like, oh, I'm skipping Evelyn now. I wasn't going to do it, but now I am. Now this is complete bias because I just got through like messing around with her today. I kind of low key, high key, I feel like Evelyn is up there. Like pool value, I think she is up there. Just jiggles aside. I think that I think her kit is really good. I think she brings something to the table that from a casual player, like free to play perspective, there's a lot of fun into her kit. There's something that we don't have right now, which we can try it in her story and like the event. She has a lot of quick swap or like switch tech that's available to her. But something that's actually really cool is if the string is attached to an enemy, she's going to do that little follow-up spin move. Correct. So now you have different like, okay, how do I do this in a team? Like a combo or rotational or whatever. And it allows you to switch off super early. She does her move anyway. And because she's the one still doing it, it'll still trigger, you know, whatever she needs it to. And then you can just start up the next wave. And her plus Astra, like it just works, right? Astra wants the quick assist. Evelyn wants the chain attacks. And, you know, Astra gives it to her. It's too fluid. So I would say if you pulled Astra, you probably should prioritize getting Evelyn. But if you kind of don't care, then it's up there because Astra's just really good. She's going to work with everybody. So, you know, there's really nothing to be like a FOMO. You don't have to FOMO it. That's kind of it.
I agree. Any thoughts?
She's really hot.
Yeah,
spectacular.
Like her animations, like her
that
like
old
the
animation
roast,
is crazy.
I thought you were gonna say her ass. Like I heard.
I mean that too.
You know, and I'm like, there's no way she's gonna say that.
That's something to be known. Like who we been knew, okay? You know.
Oh, speaking of animations, I want to say I think it's actually because I'm pretty sure it does it for Evelyn as well. And they might start doing it for the future agents. But Astra and Evelyn, I think, are the first agents where if you ult multiple times during a combat, the animation's different.
Yes.
I thought that was just because of the skin.
No, it's different.
Oh, really?
Like the
I knew that for
Astra's is
Astra.
a full-on different angle, and then Evelyn's is like zoomed in, and she does like it's the smallest little change, but it is different and it's cool.
I think they're just having fun at this point. Like they're just doing stuff, you know? Because like skins, that was something that that kind of came out of nowhere, right? Genshin didn't get skins for a long time. Starro didn't get skins until after a year, and even then, I think we only have like one.
Wait, Star's
but
a skin now?
Zenless,
oh, the March one.
I was gonna say the March one, I think. But you know,
I mean, they only
Zenless
just
has
released it as a skin.
Yeah.
3, or do we have 2? I think we have 2 skins now, right? For Zenless.
3, including Nicole, the free one.
Yeah, 3. You're right. So with 3 skins, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, every patch or every other patch we got a new skin or a couple new skins, because it livens up the game, and that's what you can see the characters. We playing whatever we want anyway. But I like that they brought that into the game, like skins as a whole.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I kind of feel like they're gonna go and add some type of persona-like system to the game. We already have the social rank hangout stuff. Take your characters on dates. They can walk around with you the entire map. I think the next thing they're going to do is implement some type of like an interactive with the map. So with fishing, right? Okay, me and Yanagi can go fishing together, and that'll be like something that you do for the entire day or however long you want to do it. Or a roller coaster. There might be a new amusement park area, and now you can go on the roller coaster, whatever. I just think they're going to start making mix of like a casual kind of thing for the game, to where you can just kind of hang out, because it feels more like a game than it does a gacha.
Yes.
They mentioned that in dev interviews before, that like they want to be able to do stuff like that. So yeah, I would not be surprised if they ended up adding more features exactly like that, because I thought the hangouts were going to be a little bit more in depth to the point of Persona originally.
Yeah, I thought like the game itself was going to be.
So,
I would love it. That'd be really cool. Josh, who else were you trying to talk about? Like, what other new characters are there?
The drip marketed ones.
There's quite a few new characters.
The ones.
Oh, not the drip marketed ones?
No.
Are we talking about the ones that were like the ones in
the ones that showed up in game? Yeah.
In the game. So we just slightly mentioned, Silver Soldier, Ambi, and Trigger, and we'll get to learn more about them very, very soon in the coming weeks. But two characters that we have now been finally and officially acquainted with, Vivian and Hugo Vlad. Yes.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the two, quote unquote, and correct me if I'm wrong, the new Mockingbird faction characters.
Yes, they are part of the Mockingbirds, and they are unbelievably beautiful. I sent for both of them. I was surprised. I went back and I looked. I actually sent for Hugo longer than I sent for Vivian.
That's because the vampire dude, yeah?
It's the vampire dude, and he has probably the prettiest face model in the game. It is actually insane. It is ridiculous. I don't know why they made him so hot. He has that aura to him. It's funny because when I saw Vivian in the trailer, I actually didn't like her design. I thought it didn't really fit the like Zenless like look.
Me too.
But when I actually saw her in-game model, I didn't care anymore. Because it looks so good. Dude,
I don't care anymore. I'm in love.
It was over.
Yeah.
But yes, they're beautiful, and they're exciting.
My standout point was I didn't know that Vivian was had some aspects of a vampire.
Yeah. She follows the it's her eyes and her ears, which is okay. This kind of went into I made a Mockingbird introduction video, and in the comments this topic came up. Technically, right, they probably don't suck blood. They might just be bat thyrans. But even if they're not, like in Lycon's agent mission, Bell makes a joke that he probably sucks blood. Yep. So they obviously want you to think of vampires.
And I wouldn't be opposed.
I wouldn't be opposed either. I exposed my neck when Vivian was on screen.
You guys are just gonna open it up to get sucked off like that? Like, just hey, take my blood.
Why both of them suck me off? Hello?
Why would I not?
That's crazy.
I got two sides of my neck for a reason.
Have you not seen
this side?
You've never seen Vampire Diaries or like the originals?
I have three sisters. Of course, I've seen Vampire Diaries.
Why did your sisters have to introduce you to a goated show? Why you couldn't just watch it on your own, huh?
Because I'm so much younger. I'm the youngest in the family. It was just on in the background.
Have they ever made you watch Charmed before?
Charmed?
Charmed, yeah. Have you ever? I had an older cousin. Charmed is like which version of originals of Vampire Diaries?
Basically.
Yeah, Pretty Little Liars and
so thankfully I didn't have to watch that. I had an older cousin and we weren't watching Pretty Little Liars, but she watched Charmed every day. I'll hang out with you because I like hanging out with you. So I guess I'm watching Charmed now. And that's finish the season.
Well, yeah. If it's a goated show, it's goated.
This isn't necessarily like fully leaked, but we can start to see, bits and tips and stuff like that about some of the characters in particular. Let's say for Vivian example, their weapon being the umbrella. Are you excited about that? Any thoughts on potential archetypes of combat for her? Maybe even Hugo Vlad.
I feel like there's gotta be a like Mary Poppins type of like reference at one point.
Yeah,
I think that'd be cute.
Yes, I think that will probably be like the end of one of her auto attack animations.
Yeah, exactly.
I really need her to fight like Neapolitan from RWBY because Zenless is so RWBY coded on so many. She's my favorite character. I love Neo, and yes, when I saw that she had an umbrella, that That is all I want. I need her to just be unbelievably saucy with the combat with that umbrella.
Has to be gun.
Her animations are going to be so good. They've cooked with every single person's combat animations, and I know that umbrella is gonna go crazy.
Man.
I didn't know you were deep into RWBY.
Oh, dude,
God, RWBY.
I have been watching so long since I was in 7th grade when volume 2 was releasing.
Oh.
Yeah,
I started watching it when it like released.
Yeah, I did too. I saw the first. I saw the first season.
Oh, I'm late. I got into it super late then.
Did you get into it when it migrated over to what's the site called? Sorry.
Rooster Teeth.
Rooster Teeth, yeah.
Like that.
Well,
Yeah, I got
started it.
Yeah. And then they gave it away or they migrated into something else. But I got into it right before that happened. So maybe like a few months to a year before that happened is when I got into it.
Yeah, it's goated. When they obviously Rooster Teeth shut down and now Viz Media owns it. Best people that could have bought it. When that happened, it got deleted off Crunchyroll. So there's like literally there was no way to watch it. And so when that happened, I literally went and I bought the entire series on Blu-ray. So now I own it physically. I'm not gonna let that happen again. Yeah.
Good stuff.
I mean, that's
BB
also
Tag is what got me into it.
Oh my god, Neo's in BB Tag, so you know.
Yeah. I know she's saucy.
Oh my god, she's so saucy, dude.
I knew RWBY because like she's the main character. I was like, who the hell are those other characters? I was like, who's Yang? But then when I play Yang and then I listen, whenever you do Yang's little super in the game and then the song I burn, I'm like, yo, wait a minute. Yeah. So she became my favorite.
It's so good. It's so good. Even if you don't like RWBY, like the animation, you cannot listen to the RWBY soundtrack and not have to change your pants. Like it's ridiculous. It's so good.
I'm not listening to it anymore, bro. I want to keep my pants clean, you know?
Side tangent, I watched, and this is the first time I knew about it, the RWBY X DC crossover like TV show. I saw that on it wasn't the best, but like I saw it literally on a plane back from Singapore, and that was my latest exposure back on RWBY. I'm like wow, like it brought back a lot of memories, but then I watched and I was like, oh well, this is kind of but I mean, hey.
It was unfortunately a situation where they wanted to make it canon, and it was being made while the show was not in a great place funding wise, and if we were even going to get another volume. So there was a lot of controversy of like, why are we making this movie instead of doing another volume, even though the funds were already allocated for it. That's besides the point. Those movies were garbage. Awesome. Don't let that affect you watching the rest of RWBY if you haven't already.
Yes. So, and I know Az didn't really want to talk too much about leaks, and we're not going to talk about any leaks on the podcast, but I did want to get people's opinions on leak culture because
that's pretty interesting.
Because when it comes to Hoyoverse games are notorious for their data getting breached. You know, a lot of people like just nabbing stuff left and right, posting stuff, especially, you know, during the heydays of Genshin, a little bit into HSR, but they've cracked down on it quite a bit. And then now there's been quite a bit of leak content, you know, dispersing, especially for Zenless Zone Zero as we're getting more popular. One of my big questions was that leak culture / leaks in general, do we think they're overall good for the community, or do we think that people who content create around the game, like leaks, aren't the greatest? What are our opinions on leakers, leak content, especially since there's been a lot more recently in Zenless Zone Zero than there has been previous?
I think it really depends. Leak it is. Like, I think story leaks should don't leak the story. What's the point of leaking the story, like, at all? Like, I think when it comes to maybe like upcoming banners, I personally feel like it's a bit more okay, because sometimes people want to, like, you know, see which characters are coming up so that they can start saving. But like, my biggest gripe with leaks is I personally try to avoid them because I want to just kind of experience the game and the content as the devs want to give it to me. As like part of the main experience. The thing that pisses me off the most when it comes to leaks is when people will post leaks without tagging them or putting any effort into allowing people who don't want to see leaks to be able to avoid them. Like when people will just post screenshots, like no tags, no nothing, like post YouTube videos, like just like spoilers in the thumbnail and title, like
Yeah.
You're an asshole. That's all. That's how I feel about that.
I agree 100%. That's what I was gonna say. Was I think leaks, like the combat leaks and banner leaks, is like it's fine. The community that is involved in the leaks, you have to learn how to tag your posts. Like it is unbelievable. I have to put I have to write an essay in my Twitter banned words anytime there's like anything new coming out for the game, because otherwise somehow it will come up.
Yep.
Because they won't list Zinless in the title, like in the thing. They won't put the character name, but it'll show up in my feed anyway because it knows that it's Zinless and I like Zinless. It'll say this pose 8 and it's just a clip of like their ult, and it's like I don't want to see that. I didn't want to see that because it's like a 3-second clip and my brain registers it before I even realize what it is, and then I'm like, oh damn, okay, that happened. So it that really only happens now because I literally have like 50 banned words every single time there's anything new. That way I don't see anything. When it's really big, like Acheron for Star Rail, that shit flooded my feed immediately.
Yeah.
There's no way I could avoid that. Miyabi, I actually recorded my reactions to looking at the leaks because I knew I wouldn't be able to get away from it. So yeah, I think that it's fine. People just really need to learn how to tag their posts for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if I added anything to it, I feel like I've always had a stance with leaks where my thing is I don't really care what people do with the leaks outside of the story. I agree with you guys on that. I don't like when leaks are monetized, and maybe it's just because when I had the whole leak thing happening, this is back in like Pokemon days, I guess. You know, we're excited about like Pokemon Black and White coming out, and we have Koro, and then it's not really a leak, but someone took a screenshot or a scan, and then we have it when we're not supposed to have it because it's supposed to be only in Japan, and you know, global gets it. Those kind of things are like, all right, cool, that's fine. But no one really monetized off of it at that time, and now it just, the culture behind leaks isn't so much that like we have to leak and like we just love leaking for the game of it. They're doing it for money. You know, when those posts blow up and that post has 50,000 likes or, you know, 1 million views, whoever posted it is getting paid, blue check mark or not, and that's fine for them because I guess now you can hide check marks, but whatever. So like they're getting paid at the end of the day. And then on YouTube, that's where I hate it the most. I despise when creators of all people take leaks and then monetize it. And like, not only do we have to see it because of recommended, right? Not only are you not tagging it or, as you said, properly, or titling it properly, where I know it's a leak if I were going to click on it. And then you're also making it in a way where from any creator, it doesn't matter if they're partnered up with Hoyo or Kuro or anybody, you're making it in a way where whatever that creator or creators were able to do or possibly gonna do, you've diminished what they can do now. Because as a community, most of the Mizzing community viewers, they don't really care who gives them the information. They just want it, right? And you know, you have some loyals, but if you could learn, oh man, Evelyn's coming out. What do I need to do to prepare for Evelyn? You will go find that information. You don't care who gives it to you. And then whenever the actual, like your favorite guide maker comes out and he's like, oh yeah, here's your Evelyn guide. I already know everything, bro. It's cool. Skip. And you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. That's fair.
I unironically think that honestly, like a lot of people nowadays, like sure, there's still probably leakers who do it for the fun of the game. But I do feel like most of the times when you see leaks online, those people are doing it for like whether it's like money, attention, like the viral clip, and they actually don't want to tag it because then people can avoid it. So that's why they actually actively try to make it as untaggable as possible so that it will be flooded onto as many people's feeds as possible. And I just feel like that is, I personally have a very big dislike for people who spoil things, and you know, leaks I guess kind of fall into that category. I think it's fine if people like, if they personally want to look at leaks and want to look at spoilers, then that's all the power to you. Okay, like different people, I know sometimes people get excited, but for me the issue lies in when people will like go and spoil things and leak things and then refuse to put any effort into trying to be considerate of the fact that not everyone is like you. Not everyone wants to see those leaks. Not everyone has played the story yet or has seen like these things. So how about you have some consideration for the people who want to experience it themselves? And if you're going to talk about spoilers or leaks, then tag them as such.
And unfortunately, like, sorry to cut off your point, but unfortunately, the, you know, social media incentivizes that behavior. right? If it wasn't greeted with millions and millions of views, and thus also the incentive, the monetary incentive.
As far as I'm aware, I try to like not look at leaks at all.
Yep.
But from the comments of Anby's announcement, that didn't leak somehow, and everyone was very surprised. That
everyone was like,
actually came through. Yeah.
Everyone was like a big F you to the leaker. They're like,
yeah. So that was really cool to see because everyone was super excited because, oh my God, it was announced like the devs intended. Isn't that crazy?
For me, like I personally have been really excited for Hugo Vlad ever since Lycon's Quest. So I was like, but it's like, I didn't know if he was going to be playable or not, right? Imagine how excited I would have been to see him teased for the first time in the 1.5 stuff. Had I not inevitably seen a leak that he was going to be playable in the future, like a few weeks ago, like I would have been so much more excited. It would have been so amazing. Like, holy crap, he's going to be playable. Like his model's there. He's going to be playable. I would lose my mind. But it's like, I couldn't avoid the leaks. So I know he's going to be playable in like a few patches. And then it just ruins the fun,
Which we talked about it in the last podcast. Because you were like, I really want to be playable. And I mentioned in the Bang Boo tower defense mode, that's where they name dropped him for the first time. Like we didn't know his name, we just knew cute vampire guy from the comics, and then that gave us a name, Hugo Vlad. And so I was like, maybe he will be playable. And then now we have the model in game.
But also, like, again, imagine if no one knew about the idols because initially Zenless was forced to promote them even before the game came out because they got leaked, right? Imagine no one had any idea, and then you have these like teasers, like these teasers, like who are the angels of delusion? Like what the hell? That sounds like such a cool name.
And then they're VTubers. What? No.
Well, I mean, it would have tied into the Snap event with Azrial. Because I mean, if we didn't know anything about the idols, then we would have made the connection. Oh, Android idol, and also this was an Android idol was mentioned in Ashra's thing. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But it's cool that they're building the characters up.
Unwanted normal better character.
Zero.
My M6 soldier says otherwise. Ooh.
Soldier's like the second best to get out of the standards. I lose mine to Coleta and Nekomata. That's it.
Hey, I've been telling people Coleta's kind of goated if you're gonna do Astra and Evelyn.
Yeah,
that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I actually said that earlier today. I was like, man, I want to try Coleta with Evelyn. But I know Lighter's supposed to be like, Lighter's going to be so good. The fire res and the fire damage boost. And I'm like, that's awesome. Coleta could stun an enemy in 2 hits. So,
bro, and she buffs chain attack damage by 70%.
I didn't even think about all that. I'm writing it down in my list.
Yeah.
But the thing is that like, to go a little bit more technical with it, the stun window and stun windows in general have been getting way, way shorter.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
They've been getting way shorter.
Like
so
that's Lighter though, right? Like because he freezes it for 3 seconds.
Oh yeah, I guess.
He pauses the stun window.
Yeah.
But I think which I guess that kind of brings up a really good point, right? Where and I wish they would have done a little bit more with the elements. But right now, freeze is really strong, and the only character that we really have to utilize freeze is Miyabi in this particular conversation, right? Because when you freeze that stun window, everything freezes, right? The stun timer, the multiplier, everything. When you get into a situation like that's why I run Anomaly Mastery over the attack percent, and like Nick's had to teach me that, right? But once he did, I'm like, okay, cool. That's goated. I understand it now. The fact that I can freeze during the stun window twice, sometimes 3 times, like, yeah, dude, I make my own stun window at this point. But I would love if we had another character that happened to do freeze that was maybe a support, and then that would be pretty cool too. So. Yeah. Or if Lighter punched with fire and ice, he would be the best character. He'd be the GOAT. He would be the GOAT. If he did fire and ice damage, oh my goodness, man, that'd be clean.
And they're gonna add more ether characters.
Everyone keeps asking for that. Like they want another Zuyuan, or I guess like a different type of attack character, but
I feel like, do you think the idol, like the idols, are one of them's gonna be ether?
It's just like they have
for me, because I see like if you look, because if you just look at like the spread of character types, right? We have Zuyuan, and then we have Nicole, and then now we have Azrial, who's technically she's a support. People want to like do actual ether damage. Like, what do you really do?
DPS Astra.
Yeah. That's factual. M6 DPS Astra. Yeah.
My
I
lighter.
can see it. I think one of them have to be, like at the bare minimum, they have to be Ether Anomaly because that's the one thing that we don't have right now.
Oh,
is
or
some
Vivian?
form of-
Someone saying Vivian?
Vivian's
Oh,
purple.
that could work too.
Vivian's
Yeah,
purple.
that could work too.
Yeah, what do we have? Ether Anomaly. We are getting another. Wow, we needed another electric stun, guys. Hey, anybody wanted another electric stun? Yeah, we're getting. I believe Polkra was physical stun, correct?
Mhm.
So that covers that base. Are we missing anything else?
Are you talking about like just in general? Because we don't have an ether defense unit either.
Ether defense,
Either
yeah.
defense done.
Yeah. And then we don't have ice defense.
We
Is there
also-
a physical support unit?
No physical support.
No, there's not.
Okay. Physical support, ice defense, ether anomaly.
Ether.
I saw someone say that one of the devs
Fire
mentioned in an
defense.
interview that they wanted to be careful with adding ether characters in,
Mhm.
because of like a lore thing. But I don't really know why that would be the case when like Zhu is ether and she just has ether gun. She just shoot ether bullets.
She
So,
shoot
like,
to
I don't
the
really
ether.
know why that would.
Well, I guess
I mean,
would,
maybe
if we're
because,
thinking about
like,
it lore wise, who else would have access or technology to be able to do that? Out of like
Yeah.
what we know is coming, right? Because Juyuin's with the
Oh.
cops, so they have the
Yeah,
money to do whatever they want.
Mm.
Miyabi is also with the cops, but technically she's like CIA
You know what?
version of the
You
You know
cops.
what?
Yeah, and she's like a super
You're
samurai.
actually big braining, and that's why Nicole is so special because she
Yeah.
definitely stole her briefcase.
Steph,
from
yes,
100%.
yes,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Tom's thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that makes a lot more sense, like lore wise now too. That's like if the idols had it, because one of them is a robo, which even if she wasn't a robot, we now have confirmation with like Astra, and Astra has the capability of singing and manipulating through ether.
Yeah,
I
but
could
Astra also
see
has
the
like a really like strong connection to like people in power,
Yeah.
right? So they could
That's
definitely
true.
get her that mic
Mhm,
to
that's
use
true.
the ether powers.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, it was
you bring up a
crafted
really
by
good
some
point actually,
artist,
like for lore.
named Melody, I think is the one who created Astra's weapon.
Stop
Okay.
blazing anomaly.
That's just how it is. And then I know a few people are like defense, and I actually want to pick Iyo's brain on this because this kind of harkens back to a lot more like combat oriented things. Defense is a very hard class to balance and introduce into a game.
Yeah, but the community already doesn't use defense characters, so I don't think they deserve another defense character. That's completely that's like bias for sure. But because we had Ben, all right, and originally Ben was like super strong during the CBT. Ben was super strong, and then we got into the game and Ben wasn't talked about anymore, right? We didn't care, and then we got Seth a little bit after that. And Seth, one, Charge Blade, Monster Hunter, so automatically cool. And then two, Seth came out and people didn't want to play him. Like they were like, oh, he can't stun. It takes him too long to do this. Why do I have to his charge attack? They're like, I don't want to sit on the field for 3 seconds holding, the skill. I just want to be able to come out and do whatever.
His quick
So
assist.
people, the quick assist would have worked out too, but they shrugged it off. They didn't care. And then we got Caesar. And the craziest part of it, this is what irks me about Caesar. Caesar has a guaranteed parry that leads into like 9,000,000% days stab. And anything in the game, she can parry it. She parries bullets, she parries explosions, she parries punches, kicks, sword slashes, whatever. She parries everything in the game. And the parry also interrupts anything that's not like a mega boss. So Bringer's big sword, the katana slash, she can parry it, but it won't stop him from doing anything else. But if Bringer were to be in his regular form and then do like a regular slash, she parries it, it'll stop Bringer. So I'm like, okay, they don't use that. No, I just want to come in and do my defensive assist with Caesar because that's all she's good for. And then she gives me shields, and then I go into my DPS character and do whatever I want. You guys don't use the defense characters for what they're intended to. But I think out of all the classes, defense might be my favorite in the game. I think it has a lot more, not really jack of all trades, but like a mixture, right? They're all going to stun. Every defense thing has a stun to it, but then it has stun plus something else. So Caesar has stun plus the interrupt, or stun plus, I guess I want to say defense because I'm not building her on crit. Like that's kind of all she has, but it's not as strong. Seth, on the other hand, M6 guaranteed crits. So he has stun, he can do damage, and he buffs anomaly, and he does support. So I'm like, yo, Seth is the GOAT. Ben counters. He has a 900% days multiplier. He works with Coleta. He does damage. And he has his own built-in parry, and he builds up anomaly from the boom, 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 boom. That builds up fire anomaly pretty good too.
Engine is 300%. It's like 300% attack based off of his defense.
Yep.
Or 300% of his defense turns into attack. Yeah.
So it's like you have all these different things that help out the player, and it's a good way to mix up your team for whatever it is that you want to do, which I think is pretty cool. Hi, mamas. Hello.
Oh.
Okay, goodbye.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no. So it's weird. If we got another defensive character, I would hate for them to make it like baby's first defense, and then everyone just like, because then you know what I mean. Like defense, they've shown that if you actually take the time to learn these characters, they could provide a lot of value to your team or to your account. But if they dumb it down and now it's like, okay, I don't have to learn anything, and now all I have to do is literally quick assist or like defensive assist, and I get all the benefits. At that point, you should have just made them a stun character, you know, and just gave them all of the day.
Yeah.
But I feel as though there's so much potential with defense and like you said, to be sort of like a jack of all trades hybrid, right? Yeah. We are starting to see a bit of crossover between some units, and then also some units even branching out into new things. Like you have Azrial as a support and a healer, which I mean, I guess like is kind of like a catch-all for support. But you're starting to see these other characters do multiple things. You know, defense is going to need, you know, there's slice of the pie still. So I'm very curious as to how, you know, they bring defense back into the fold a little bit.
Yeah, because I know you just mentioned Astra's like thing isn't necessarily jack of all trades, but isn't Astra's M1 literally make her a jack of all trades? Like, because it gives her both the attribute resistance, and it gives her one stack of just immune.
Yep, it gives you the Caesar shield, but I don't want to say better, but like it gives you Caesar shield, which is like, okay, nothing's gonna hurt you, but this time literally nothing hurts you. You have one instance of just not getting touched at all. And it goes across the whole team. There are two. I'll give you a short answer, and then I'll give you the like super long answer.
Yeah.
So the short answer is that Powercreep is irrelevant in Zenless as of right now because like it's purely player skill. Powercreep only exists for players that I'm going to say this, and I don't mean this in the way that it's going to come off. So I'm trying to find out a way to not say it that way. If you are not good at the game, Powercreep matters to you. But if you are good at the game, Powercreep is irrelevant. Now the extended version of that, and why I'm saying what I'm saying, is because most of the action-based games always fall down to skill over like a character or anything else. A good example of this would be if we take Devil May Cry, which is, you know, pretty close to what we can look at for some of the action-based gacha games. What ends up happening with some of these games, like Devil May Cry, let's say that Virgil is the best character in the game. So naturally, you would say beat everything with Virgil because he's the best. And let's say that Nero was the worst character in the game. He's not, but let's just say he is. Then, or V, right? V is the one from DMC5 with the crows and the cane and whatever else. Let's say he's the worst character in the game. A skilled player is going to be able to beat everything in the game with anybody because they learn how to play the game with that character. Zenless offers us so much in the roster that as long as you understand team building and what you're doing and like things like that, you can beat whatever you want in the game. You could literally take Billy, Ambi, and Nicole and beat the entire game like scot-free. It'll take a lot of work, but it's doable, right? And it's not like crazy to do it because I think Flaminsky is like bodying everything with Billy. Like that's his thing. Is he just Billy. He just bodies everything.
Floor 100 with the Billy. Yeah.
So like it's definitely doable. And I feel like when we use the term power creep, it always turns into a nuanced argument or debate because people want to hear power creep. Oh, this character's stronger, so it's automatically power creep. But what we should be actually talking about is like, how does that affect you or the game or the meta, whatever. Miyabi power crept everyone in the game. Like she, in my opinion, was a mistake. We love her. I'm not complaining about it. But she is a one of a kind. There's not another character in the game that abuses anomaly the way she does, especially freeze. I just talked about that earlier. You don't need Miyabi. Somebody could have skipped and you'd be perfectly fine. So I really just think it comes down to like player skill when it comes to Zenless. And I love that about the game. I think it being focused on the player skill and the ability to play well or learn how to play well that's what I really like about it. Like, cool, you know.
Yeah.
I don't really know how else to explain it, right? But I mean, you guys' thoughts on that, because I know that y'all probably don't like dig into it the way that I do.
I mean, I agree with everything you said. I think it'll be really interesting later down the road with them actually adding like different versions of enemies that we already know, because it's just going to add on to the fact that it's going to be more skill based, really.
Yeah.
Like the new mage version of the Dead End Butcher, where they like
Yes.
turn him into a
Thank you.
Oh
sorcerer.
my god.
That
Yes.
shit is badass. That was so fucking cool.
I didn't mention it because I didn't know. I was like,
yeah.
bro, I know where I saw it, right? Because I
Yeah.
experienced it, and I'm like, can we talk about that? But I don't know where it is in the
so
game.
sick. It's in the new
Dude.
battle tower.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is a bitch.
It's so sick
he's
though.
tough.
Like the fact that they basically just changed his class, like
Yeah.
from a brawler to a sorcerer, is so cool. And even if you have Miyabi, if you are not good at the game, it will body you.
Mm-hmm.
Like it will.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I think the skill issue is really where it's at, because of the fact that it's an action game. Which, as opposed to, I can't remember if you actually mentioned it, but as opposed to Star Rail, where it is literally a turn-based game, so you have to like
There's
have
limited things you can
specific
do.
setups.
Yeah.
You can't like just actually dodge attacks in Star Rail.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they change the enemies in the future.
Wrap it up, everybody. Episode 2 of the Proxy Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And let's wrap it up with reintroducing our guest yet again. And hey, where can we find you guys? Where do you guys create your content at?
You can find me on literally anything at the same name, Azrial Vanity. But I mainly, I stream on Twitch now too. Every stream, I stream on YouTube and Twitch, so you can watch at either place. I mainly cover lore content, as I'm sure you figured that out during this podcast. I yapped a little too much there, and that's it. I stream not every day, but I stream when lore important stuff happens. So you can tune in there. And I'm trying to post more on TikTok, I guess.
Yeah.
So there's that
I mean,
also.
it's unbanned. so-
小红书, 小红书?
Hi. My brain is completely burned. But yeah, I'm Agekk, Age on that's my username on most platforms. I usually post
Why did you?
Stop laughing.
Hey, I take you seriously, Age. I take you seriously.
I post videos on YouTube, and I also multi-stream on YouTube and Twitch most days of the weekdays. And yeah, that's I do a lot of story reactions and like reactions in general. I post singing covers sometimes, and I goon a lot on stream. That's all.
Iyo?
The open goonerism is funny.
And embrace it.
Yeah, you know, you're right. I'm Iyo. You can add an XS or an XL. You'll find either channel. You know, one's different than the other. Iyoku, everywhere else, Twitch, Twitter, all that fun stuff. That's Aqua. She doesn't do social media. I'm not gonna let her. You know, it's too toxic for her. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I do a lot of content pertaining to like combat, or I don't even want to say teaching people how to play the game, but I guess that's kind of what it's devolved into. I just like talking about the game, right? If we talk about the game, the combat, the characters, the meta, the fun stuff, combos, whatever you name it, I'm going to talk about it. So,
all right.
You have to introduce yourself now.
Ah, yes. And to close us out, the host with the most. Hi, everybody. It's your boy Josh. We do a bunch of variety combat stuff over on our channel as well. You know, challenges, a bunch of collabs like you guys see with the podcast. And, you know, the podcast is only one facet of it. We have U3 coming back again for the Bangbu X Fall Guys tournament, which will be its own YouTube video. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel to catch all of it. But that will be hosted live on the 31st. And then, you know, more Proxy podcasts in the future, as well as, you know, bringing on everybody else for, you know, small little projects here and there and everywhere. So thank you so much for tuning into the Proxy Podcast episode number 2. Give your best NPC wave, everybody.
What? Oh,
Spectacular.
I glitched out. I glitched out.